This isn't any regular heat. This is nuclear heat. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Bringing you the latest from the Square Circle on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Jake Bockoven.
Hello and welcome into Nuclear Heat here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Bachman alongside Nuclear Heat contributor and my tag team partner, Augie Pena. We're ready to talk another week of pro wrestling here in the WWE. Certainly has been a wild day as we see the NFL playoffs kind of come to an end. The Rams have a chance to kick a field goal here, so I won't spoil it. But we also will be on the terrestrial radio here pretty soon once the game concludes. And it looks like that is happening now as the field goal is good. So we know the AFC and NFC championship matches. And again, thanks for joining us via stream, but we will be on radio here in just a few moments. Certainly let the post game run through from that. Incredible. We'll get into the wrestling here in a moment, but how about two snow games here to get to the conference championship weekend, Augie?
Yeah, no, that's always fun. You know, that's the beauty of football, right? Is when you get to have those snow games. I'll say though, that one in New England looked like that was brutal.
Yeah.
And the Texans just couldn't do anything. I don't know if it was, the wind and the snow that, because yesterday was the Broncos and Bills. Did that have some snow too, or was it just really cold?
I think it might have just been cold, but yeah, I mean, in general, it's cold this time of year. Might get some of that.
I think in those 3 games there was 12 interceptions thrown. So I mean, the cold affects it, but that's what makes it fun. Is you really got to be the better team, the team that can win outside and all that, opposed to those domes. So makes for some fun times.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And we got a big debate going on in the station about whether it's better to play at like peak. Like in domes where it can't be affected, or if you want to be a weathered team. But we'll see. And I got to ask you, because you're an Eagles fan, it certainly gets cold at this time of the year for the Eagles. Is there a time in your life where you have decided, like, if it was that cold, it was snowing, would you go to an Eagles playoff game, or would you rather sit at home on your couch and watch at this age? I mean, was there an age that it would switch, or are you still there?
Oh, no, I would not go. I mean, I don't like going to the Husker games when it's freezing outside.
Yeah.
I went to the USC game here, and
blackout.
the blackout, and it wasn't as bad, but, towards the end of the game, you can't feel, you can't feel your fingers or anything, and all that. But man, like last year when the Eagles played the Rams in the playoffs, it was like snowing and like negative. As much as I love the Eagles, man, I would not be there. It had to be the right situation, right? Some stuff to, some coffee, some hot chocolate, things like that, and around some good people, maybe. But then they show those people on the jumbotrons that it's -5, snowing, they don't have shirts on, and you're just like, why, man?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
That's what I say for me, like at a certain point, like I think I would have done it when I'm younger, but you just get to a certain age where it's like, I'd just rather watch from TV. Like I know it's still a special moment and all that, but I'd rather just watch on TV because it's cold.
What was it? 2019 when we played Michigan State here and it was like 6-9.
Yes,
we won.
Yeah.
I was at that game.
Oh yeah.
Me and my buddy, we brought one blanket and it's 2 of us, at that time, we're just like, you know what? It doesn't matter. And we just, under one blanket, we went and got coffees, hot chocolates. We were just trying, but that was, because it was sleeting, I think.
Yeah,
it was like 0 degrees outside. That was the last like horrible cold game like that I went to.
One of the best moments of the Scott Frost era. But nevertheless, let's move on. Let's talk some wrestling. We don't need to get into that. Of course, wrestling, WWE, they're going through their European tour, which is always fun. We talk about the overseas crowds, add a little bit something different to it. So we can kind of get into the individual SmackDown and Raw this past week. We certainly will. But now we are 1 week through the Drew McIntyre era. Have any feelings, or you think this is kind of going about the way you expected it to? Or you're happy to see Drew McIntyre hold the belt still after a weeks of shows here?
Yeah, I like it. And the European fans love it.
You know,
they're behind it. I know he's still a heelish character and whatnot, but man, talk about Cody getting booed, that was coming. So, it's nice. It's refreshing, to see Drew have the belt. And I mean, everybody he called out, who came out, all that. It makes it exciting to see yes, it's kind of the same recycled people, but I hate to say it, Cody Rhodes being out of the picture kind of seems to freshen it, liven it up. And yeah, I think it's great. I think Drew McIntyre, whether he's the guy that goes to WrestleMania with the belt, I think it was a really good decision to put the belt on him. And just, for at least for this European tour, the Royal Rumble, give them something, and give him something too, because he's been a warrior. We've talked about it. His character's been stale. He's been around for a while, always second place, super close. And, you reward him with that, and that keeps guys motivated. So, I think that's another good thing for it.
Yeah, and we'll see too. It's interesting as Cody Rhodes, the only one that we've seen so far enter the Royal Rumble, and it's crazy. I mean, we were talking about a pre-show. The Royal Rumble usually there's just, that is the kickoff to WrestleMania. So counting down to the Royal Rumble, you usually got like qualifying matches and maybe legends coming back and announcing they're coming in. And just 2 weeks away, because there's a Saturday night main event. Again, you got to pay everybody off, make everybody happy. So Peacock and NBC come knocking on the door. They don't overlook us, okay? We need Saturday night's main events to get its due. So a lot more build up towards Saturday night main event than there is Royal Rumble right now. So we'll see. I'm sure we're going to get plenty more participants. I think it's going to start happening this week, which is a great reason to tune in if you haven't recently. But it is very strange because usually they've got weeks building up to it. I mean, I remember when Cody won, I think it was his first one. I remember it might have been the second one that he won, but he had a promo, like a vignette every week, and it really kind of spilled the beans. He was going to win the Royal Rumble. Little bit of fear that might happen again. Would you be upset? I mean, because it's Cody and obviously Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre put in a provision in the contract that he let me know this past week that Cody would not get the rematch. Kind of setting up maybe once again a predictable Royal Rumble where Cody wins and takes on Drew at WrestleMania. Again, it would be a little bit fresh because Drew has the belt, but we've seen that quite a bit this year.
Yeah, I mean, and outside of that, Cody's won 2 out of the last 3, and we'll talk about it. Cody winning the first one, I think, was fun, right? It was fun. It was part of the story. He lost. You knew he was going to win that second one, and then Jey Uso wins the last one, so that was a surprise and kind of a disappointment. So I don't know how I'd feel. I wouldn't. The Royal Rumble is supposed to be a time to give, somebody a chance, right? And to give it to a guy who would then have won it 3 out of the 4 years, I think that's a miss on their part. Unless, for some odd reason, Cody turns heel, doesn't go after Drew, flips it on to somebody like a CM Punk or Gunther or I don't know, kind of whatever the other scene is. Maybe that could be fun, but I don't know, man. I want to see somebody else win it. It doesn't have to be somebody like my favorite at LA Knight, but I don't know. Even a name like Roman Reigns to me sounds more appealing than Cody Rhodes winning it again.
Well, and usually, like you said, the Royal Rumble is especially exciting to see guys that can't just walk up and ask for a title match and get it. Cody, obviously, again, because that provision is now toward the back of the line, but otherwise, we'll be handed a title shot here, whether he wins the Rumble or not. Certainly within the next 3 months. I mean, it's just going to happen. So, I would prefer to see them go the opposite route there. But again, it's so interesting to see because Cody is obviously their what do they call him, the quarterback number 1, and kind of the guy that they've put a lot of the money behind in recent years. So this kind of little step toward him not being a title holder leading up to WrestleMania very well could be, let's amplify this, get him in Stone Cold area of winning the Royal Rumble 3 times and then going after the title there. So it remains to be seen. Again, that's always the exciting part of watching it. Wouldn't be surprised, certainly, if he's at least in that final 4. I love when the Royal Rumble kind of gets to the final 4 and so all these stories that they could go with, potentially are out there. I think he'll certainly be in the mix for the Royal Rumble one way or the other. Once again, the only contestant thus far. Let's go ahead and get to our Raw recap so far. Thanks again to those out there listening so far. By the way, Facebook, Connor Black says, love the takes, Augie. So good takes so far as we get going here. Let's start off from Dusseldorf, Germany, where WWE Raw opened up with the new women's tag team champs, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Rio, as they might be better known, coming out. They hoping to put the Kabuki Warriors behind them and tried to bring on new challengers. Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez come out and interrupt. Obviously, Liv Morgan's got a very big history there with Rhea Ripley, so that was able to provide some excitement. A little bit surprised they went right back to it in the tag team division. but we can get to that here in a second. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria soon entered the ring to also argue that they should get the opportunity to go after the tag team champions. And this was all before, by the way, crowd loves Bayley. I couldn't figure that out exactly, but the crowd did love Bayley there. Not that I dislike Bayley, but generally more enthusiastic crowd to Bayley at this point in time in Dusseldorf there. Either way, Kairi Sane and Asuka do attack the Kabuki Warriors, who had just lost the belt. The brawl ensues. Rio does stand tall at the end of this, and it sets up a triple threat for the number one contenders match later in the show. We'll go ahead and go over that real quickly here. Good match. Kairi Sane especially looked good, but ultimately she had to take the pin, so maybe that was all part of the plan from Liv Morgan in the Oblivion. Therefore, at Saturday night's main event, we will have Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, this I think it's fun. I think it's fun to get Liv Morgan kind of back in that title, picture, and and it's with oh my gosh, why am I blanking? With her tag team partner,
Roxanne Perez.
I love that it's different, right? Because when she was coming back, everybody was thinking they'd have an issue, right? And it was her and Raquel together. So to have her and Roxanne going at it and kind of having some good chemistry, right? Like they were good in the ring together. I think that's a lot of fun. And it's fresh. It's a different tag team, and the tag teams we've kind of been seeing over the last 2 months, have been kind of the same teams over. They brought in, who is it, Lash Legend to be with Nia Jax. So that's kind of the new addition to it. But then the other ladies we've kind of seen. So I think this is fresh and this is good. And by the way, Connor, much love. All that stuff. Love that. People are starting to, listen to us and maybe, enjoy our wrestling takes there and, all that stuff. And we're doing a good job with it.
Yeah. Happens every Sunday night here at 9:00 Nuclear Heat. So thanks for joining us in there. But yeah, no, I feel the same way. And it's kind of interesting too, because they've got a couple different ways they can go here at Saturday night's main event. Certainly Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, it's their first title offense. Usually you don't lose it that quickly, but often when we see single stars paired together, it's not a very long title reign. Whereas obviously within the Judgment Day, the other group, the challengers here, would have more longevity potentially behind them. And so maybe the plan gets pushed to the forefront. You'd also have Liv Morgan, kind of getting a little bit of heat back for taking down the crowd's, one of the crowd's favorite in Rhea Ripley. So quickly, maybe you could start having Io Sky and Rhea Ripley get frustrated with each other. So just all sorts of potential. And then to your point at the end, we all know Roxanne and Liv are going to get into each other at some point.
Yeah.
But they got to, I think it's good that they're kind of building a friendship up there first. So all sorts of possibilities could come out of this. Thank God the Kabuki Warriors didn't win again. Love the Kabuki Warriors, but that's enough of them for the tag champions for now. We move on. Javon Evans against Bravo Americano. Of course, Tyler Bate under that mask, as we saw, as Bravo was doing a couple of Tyler Bates moves throughout the match. The young OG, though, put on an acrobatic show, ultimately won with an OG cutter. El Grande and Rayo were there. They attacked after the match. Of course, Rayo being Pete Dunne. Again, you have to remind us every week to get in my own head who's behind these characters. And so ultimately, again, Javon Evans gets the win. There's probably, obviously you got to take down Bravo and Rayo before you get to El Grande, I think is what we're going to eventually get to here. A little bit of shame, though, because this was Ludwig Kaiser's home country, and he is certainly right now stuck in the Americano role, but he got a big pop last time they were over there. So a little bit surprised they might not do something with him. I guess they want you to, it's all kind of strange because we all know who's behind all the masks.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of built in the storyline. If you remember those, I think Kaiser was like backstage listening to kind of what was going on from the previous iteration of El Grande and recruited those guys. But yeah, could have done something there, with my boy Ludwig, but they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Ludwig as well. I thought it was funny when he came in as, the Grande Americano 2.0 or whatever we want to call him. But the part I can't get past is all these Americano luchadors are all European or, like the people behind them. So I know it's supposed to be a joke character, but I don't know. It's I don't know. It's fine in there and everything. But, we talked about it a little bit ago or a while ago on that. I wish they wouldn't have made so many Americanos, different names, and let us know who they were. I kind of liked when they had the suspense, but it's fine. They got their little team there and everything, and they're getting some TV time, so that's good for them.
Yeah, and I think, obviously they're losing a lot of steam. So you wonder how long they're going to kind of keep it going. But obviously, I think the goal is to, when Chad Gable gets healthy, to kind of pay that off eventually. They just got to kind of keep these characters alive while they can, and maybe a little feud with Javon Evans won't necessarily hurt here. As we kind of get to know again the young OG, which doesn't make any sense, but that's all right. That's what they're going with. Backstage, Adam Pearce warns Paul Heyman about keeping Braun Baker at bay for the evening. Paul Heyman doing his best Lou Costello there, I thought, as far as not necessarily giving away what he was going to be doing. I thought that was kind of an entertaining one. Then we move on to CM Punk's promo. Says he's done with the Vision. Then Finn Balor interrupts. He was challenged early in the night by Liv Morgan to go after a title, since he was the only one in Judgment Day not to do so. CM Punk wants the match there and then, but Balor wants it for next week in his home country. This week now, tomorrow evening on Monday Night Raw, his home country of Ireland. Certainly we'll get a bigger cheer there. It's kind of interesting though. This is a very pro Finn Balor show. He's one of my favorites. Crowd didn't seem to give a care one way or the other about what's kind of going on. I think part of that's the disconnect with his music. I think you'd have to, I hope for their show in Ireland, they kind of bring, you don't have to bring out the full demon character, but at least kind of give him his old music back would be nice. He's kind of teetering. He's a heel.
Yeah.
So that's why they've kind of went away from that. So I can get all that, but for as much as I've been waiting for this moment to happen, the crowd could care less.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's kind of the weird part, right, about being overseas over there, right? Is for us, it feels like, when they go over there, they love all their stars, but that's like us and somebody from Iowa, right? Like an Iowa Hawkeye or Michigan Wolverine. You're like, no. We really don't care all that much. You kind of forget, that they have those rivalries and all that over there too. But I'm a big Finn Balor fan as well. You love it because it's good, he gets to go home and all that. But the writing on the wall here. He's probably not going to take that. So, which is such a shame because we've talked about it. He's the first Universal Champion. If it wasn't for that shoulder injury, who knows? And the Demon, they just haven't brought it back. For whatever reason, or not. But it's going to be a fun match. CM Punk versus Finn Balor. But I don't know. It just feels like it's not going to be a clean finish, or we're going to be disappointed because obviously our boy Finn Balor is just can't win the title right now.
It's funny too, just going through it too, because how much talk was about Drew McIntyre, whether they deserved it, and so much talk of the WWE universe. And it's so funny how we get into that space, and then a week later, a demon guy could be the champion, the top champion. And you're just like, well, yeah, maybe it is a little bit silly. We have to remind ourselves we're talking pro wrestling here. But I do agree with you. And he's talked in the past too about how that demon character has brought down the Finn Balor character, because it was almost like, the demon character is untouchable, but what does that do for that being Finn Balor vulnerable? So I thought that was kind of interesting. Of course, once the demon lost, the rope snapped and he lost to Roman Reigns. They've gone away from that, and just amazing again that all the breakup with Damian Priest, who I don't think's any better off from breaking up from the Judgment Day now than he was then. That they never paid off, Finn Balor going to that space. Eventually they will. I don't think this is the spot for it either. Like you said, because he's not going to win. There's just no chance that he's going to beat CM Punk. They haven't built him up enough. It's obviously just kind of getting the home crowd a little bit more interested into what they're doing that evening. But good to see again. Maybe can at least be a reminder, because what I love about him is always puts on a great show, and people will be excited once it gets in ring. Obviously, not going to be where they want it to land, but maybe Finn Balor. Maybe this is the first of a few, and Judgment Day versus CM Punk could be something they get going here, or it could just be a one-off.
Yeah, and I hope it's more than a one-off, because I know they're still going for kind of a Judgment Day split, right? They'll eventually go towards that, but I just want them to have the Judgment Day. Everybody holds gold, before then. And you know what? Give Finn Balor, because I'll be honest. If Finn Balor were to win the Royal Rumble, I think everybody would be okay with that, right? That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. If he were to win the title at WrestleMania and be the champ, I think that'd be amazing. So he's one of those guys where he doesn't get hurt by losing, right? Because I think we just become so accustomed to him losing all the time. But he's somebody that the WWE could throw a curveball at us. And if he were to win a championship, in the next couple months, we would say bravo. That's because we talk about LA Knight, like you said, Drew McIntyre, those guys. Finn Balor's right there. I mean, how many title chances has he had?
Yeah.
Even the Intercontinental, like he was runner up, he was the guy. And he supposed to be one of the leaders of the Judgment Day, this big faction, and he can't get the gold outside of tag team championships. So, like we said, we'd love to see it. I don't think it'll happen, but hey, I didn't think Drew McIntyre was going to beat Cody Rhodes. I didn't think they'd do that right before WrestleMania. So,
it's always a possibility.
Yeah, they could curveball us there.
Speaking of Judgment Day, they were also part of the next segment here. Adam Cole's interview with Raquel Rodriguez. Really liked it because Adam Cole was disappointed in where Raquel Rodriguez's character has gone. So I thought that was hilarious. And Raquel Rodriguez is interesting too because she's still kind of establishing herself. And so when she went out there, I was kind of thinking, all right, is the crowd going to be into this too much? I mean, we'll see. And they did. They started to kind of react to her, which is fun to kind of see her development. And kind of reach that level because I remember when her character came in and we were talking about it, like there's just not a whole lot here to it.
Yeah.
And now that as often it takes turning heel to kind of get a little bit more backstory and character going, that I think she's arrived to that point. Kind of weird how they ended up having this happen. So Cole was disappointed in her. Stephanie McCare shows up in a cast for some reason. Thought that would be a good idea to go in front of Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez ends up attacking her from behind. So again, getting more heat on Raquel Rodriguez. Everybody loves Stephanie McCare. And again, they've done this in a three-way before, but to have those two go one-on-one, I think they're building it up pretty properly.
Yeah, I think so too. And this is technically Stephanie McCare's second title defense, right? Because the first one was with Nikki and Raquel. So yeah, I think it's good. The whole storyline of Stephanie, if she's really hurt, I've seen. Obviously, you can't take what they post on social media and stuff, but it looks like it's a legitimate sprain, maybe something like that. So I don't know. We'll have to kind of see where they go with that storyline. But sometimes they overplay the injury storyline if that's there. Seth Rollins, things like that on there. But yeah, I like Stephanie McCare. I think she's for as much as they're giving her, she's trying to be a good champion. And Raquel Rodriguez, like we said, she's supposed to be the diesel, of this group. And I think she's doing a good job at that. And she's getting better on the ring and in the mic.
Yeah. And like I said, I can't wait for this match. And so if they really are dealing with an injury, it's always tough to kind of right around that. And I think they've done a good job doing that to this point. So still looking forward to seeing that go down. Up next, we had Bronson Reed and Austin Theory take on Dragon Lee and Penta, Paul Heyman and Logan Paul in the corner of the Vision. And interesting too, should point this out. Logan Paul, we you can love him or hate him, somewhere in between. This is his full-time role, right? Yeah. And this was kind of the least important appearance, I suppose, in his career. So it's kind of felt like he was more and more part of the locker room. Anyway, that didn't matter too much. I just thought that was interesting that because that you figure initially like celebrity part-timer, all that sort of stuff. He really is kind of getting settled in to the full-time role. Mm-hmm. In any case, Dragon Lee ultimately celebrating a move at ringside is blindsided by a Braun Breaker spear. Braun Breaker is in the building. The Vision kept attacking. Of course, you have Bronson Reed's Tsunami, so he's going after that. And eventually, Breaker assaulted Adam Pearce, who was out there to kind of break it up. But we found out later who assaulted who first is what Heyman kind of had to say, because Pierce did grab Breaker and then Breaker put Pierce in the corner and kind of started shaking him up. So we'll see how that goes. Pierce, by the way, in the backstage suspended Breaker indefinitely. But once again, Paul Heyman threw out there that he thought that Pierce attacked him first. I'm interested to see where you go. I mean, ultimately, do we want Adam Pearce in the ring? I don't necessarily know if that's necessary. So we'll see. But it does look like at least the Vision's kind of got something to do outside the title picture here. I will say this: it's crazy how fast they kind of moved off the Austin Theory thing. It was, it was big surprise. Who's the masked man? Reveal it's Austin Theory, and they kind of went along the right path. And then, the next week, okay, what's it going to mean? And then all of a sudden he's just kind of there, and he's just part of their team, and there's nothing more to it than that, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of what we were afraid of, right? Is he just end up becoming another member, right? Just like the fifth, fourth, sixth. I don't even know how many members there truly are. There's a lot of guys in this faction, and they need to be careful with that, because I thought maybe with 4, okay, that's good. The Logan Paul, okay, he is a full-time wrestler now, things like that, or performer, things like that. But Austin Theory just always made me nervous because he has everything to be a top star if they used him right. And once again, he's just going to kind of be in the shadow, the back of a faction, and that's something that I don't think he needs to. I didn't want to see it, and that's the route it looks like they're going with here.
Yeah, it's just I think his character had gotten somewhat stale. I mean, I liked what he was doing in his past tag team enough. I mean, I thought that was but they kind of went away from that with Grayson Waller without ever having the official breakup. It had a ceiling to it, right? It wasn't going to be the top of the card, but I kind of liked it in the mid card. And they just but his character doesn't really have anything special to him. And they bring him back, and you would think, okay, after all this planning and giving him this big of a spot, what are we going to do with him? I mean, I don't care what it is. Give him a bat, give him some makeup, something. I don't know. Do something to kind of change up his character that never had anything to it. That was the problem. I mean, he's got the physique. He can talk. He can act. I mean, he's got everything there. There's the care factor that's missing. And I don't think ruining Survivor Series is going to do much for as long. Like if you don't pay it off with anything significant other than, hey, it was Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Then and he's not new. He's just I don't know if that's going to get him over like they were hoping.
No, I don't think so. I know it wouldn't fit in here. I still don't for the life of me understand why they went away from his first character, who was that like guy that would go up there and do the bodybuilding thing and do the selfies, with everybody. I don't know but
that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's where he kind of got over. And I know corny things like that, all that came out, but that's kind of where he shined. And then they turned him into Vince McMahon's the golden egg. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
The egg that McMahon gave to him, and like he was, I don't know. They went away
from
it.
Beat John Cena at WrestleMania. He got every rub you could.
So that I think is where the downfall though was, because that was like one of the John Cena, man. I don't know what it is, but that was like one of the worst WrestleMania matches of all time. Well, outside the Usos, I got to give them. I can't forget that one. But right. That's kind of where his downfall went. And everything were there. But like I said, he's only like 26, 25, something like that. Has the physique and everything, could do it. Can talk on the mic. They keep missing with this guy, and you're hoping for his sake, and for the company's sake, because a lot of the top guys are older. You need some of those younger guys to really step up. And like I said, he's probably right now, the fifth member of the Vision, and the Vision's still trying to get its own traction. So if you're the fifth member, it's not really where you want to be.
Yeah, and we'll see. Again, you mentioned the age of them. That's kind of their thing. They're a young, group. Hopefully, what the WWE at least hopes, and presenting them as kind of the next big things, up and comers and all that. But we'll see. Again, there could always be the chance that he's there on Seth Rollins' behalf, and eventually, if he does do that turn, I think that could spice it up a little bit. I just thought there would be a little bit more having to earn his way into the Vision or get some sort of something, out of it. Maybe have a little bit of somebody that doesn't trust him in the Vision, get something kind of interesting going. And they've neglected that at least so far. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We will be back here in just a few minutes to talk about the rest of Raw and recap SmackDown here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to the Spring Equipment and Technology Clinic February 3rd through the 5th at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney. New this year, the planter and sprayer clinics are combined into one streamlined, hands-on event built around growers' time and needs. Get expert training on John Deere planters and sprayers on topics including maintenance, technology, and autonomy. Don't miss it. February 3rd through the 5th in Kearney. Visit landmarkimp.com/events for details.
Back to Nuclear Heat with your host, Jake Bockoven on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on Nuclear Heat, our WWE Week in Review show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Tell your friends. Tell your wife, hide your kids. No, that's a different one. Okay. Tell your friends we're here every week at 9 o'clock for some pro wrestling talk. If they are pro wrestling fans, of course. If they're not, then they will be annoyed by this program. But that's fine. We welcome all sorts of takes, like the wrestlers do as well. We can be booed. We can be booed out of the building. That's fine. But we were halfway through Raw. We can continue where we were talking about there. We were just leaving off on the Braun Breaker attack of Adam Pearce. So we'll kind of see where that goes. We did mention during that segment, Dragon Lee and Penta was facing Bronson Reed and Austin Theory. They seem to have moved off the Dragon Lee AJ Styles team pretty quickly. Yeah. Styles, of course, in the main event facing Gunther the evening. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Of course, AJ Styles on his final year. Doesn't look like a whole lot more of that will be spent with Dragon Lee. Maybe they break it back out. But that's interesting. Speaking of tag team champs too, Otis and Akira Tozawa approached Jey Uso backstage about getting a tag team title opportunity. So it'll be fun to kind of see those guys out there. And maybe, I mean, they're going to try to take them seriously, but their characters are jokers. So I don't know how that's going to go. And I just can't see the Usos losing to them.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's a weird one because, we talk about guys who just can't get over. Akira Tozawa and Otis, they're just guys that are fan favorites, right? So if they were to win, I don't think anybody would be mad. It'd be a surprise. But you're right. I just don't think, they could be, they're going to beat the Usos because the Usos are now the 9-time tag team champs. Historic, they're going for the, them and the New Day, are doing the record thing and everything. So don't think it'll be that, but it's always fun to see, see the worm broken out, see Akira kind of, doing his thing there. So yeah, I think it's fun, something for the Usos to do. And it's, sorry guys, it's not the War Raiders, so that's or the New Day right now. So that's kind of the big thing. It's somebody fresh to a point.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And maybe you're right. Maybe this is a longer build. Maybe, if I was going to give Otis and Tozawa the win, might be at WrestleMania. Yeah. So maybe you set up a fatal 4-way. They seem like the odd team out. Could have a big moment there, something like that. Could be pretty fun. But I mean, if they do, like, they bring out the Hardys. If it's the Hardys and the Usos and Otis and Akira Tozawa and New Day, then I might not be so much cheering for the underdogs. I just take those guys out. So we'll see how it goes. But like you said, I think it's at least fresh. Then AJ Styles and Gunther battle. Of course, AJ Styles battling on John Cena's behalf. Gunther Good back and forth here. I mean, this was maybe the match of the night, pretty good. The crowd couldn't decide. Obviously, they're in Germany, whether they wanted to cheer for Gunther or go against him. So that was an entertaining dynamic as well. Styles was working Gunther's leg with the calf crusher for most of the match. And in fact, had it locked in when Gunther tapped out, but the official didn't see it. So he tapped AJ Styles. We couldn't even see it on the broadcast. They had to show it a different angle. So it was really well done because that's you gotta make sure your film and your camera work is in the right spot. So they purposely did that so that we couldn't see until later that Gunther had tapped out. AJ Styles went and to kind of confront the ref about it, said it should be over, all that sort of stuff. The ref's distracted. Gunther hits a low blow and then a power bomb for the win here. I mean, I guess that's allowed because Gunther, again, unique finish. I like kind of how they do that. Again, the one thing I would avoid is the low blow. Like, come on. I get it's the heelish thing, but he did that against Solo Sikoa. I mean, this is twice in his last like 4 or 5 matches that he's done that. And I just feel like if you're, there's different ways to build a heel. You can kind of do the guy that, goes outside the rules. Kind of the chicken bleep heel, right? Or you can have the powerful dominant heel. And I just don't know why they have not made Gunther the power dominant heel. It's like they do it 99% of the time and then throw in low blows here and there. It's just like I if there's one thing I hate in wrestling, that's it. I would reserve it for a big surprise, but if you do it too often, especially with one character, I mean, what are we going for? Now, the one thing that Gunther does occasionally get, you tapped out chance from the Uso, from his time with working with Jey Uso. I think that maybe they're going to try to get more heat on that, and of course, altogether might get more heat on Gunther. But a chicken bleep way to get there, I'd say, as I was already said chicken bleep, so I can say it a few times.
There you go. Well, I'm kind of with you there. It's just so confusing what they've done with Gunther. They had him on that 666-day reign as Intercontinental Champ, even in NXT. He was the dominant, he wouldn't really win. He was the bruiser, right? I mean, he was the guy. And he still kind of was that until, the whole, he lost to Sammy, then he lost to Jay, and that he lost to Cody. We're going to bring that up for the rest of our lives, is the champion versus champion. That just ruined him. That ruined his reputation, everything like that. Ruined kind of how his character is. He became a coward after that, and everything. So I agree, it's all fun and games. You can keep saying the B word and all that stuff about John Cena, everything, work that up. But, we talked about it. What was next for him? And we said he needs to be this dominant heel. This dominant, just everybody hates him. Best way to do that is just beat all the fan favorites, but pin them, tap them out. You do that and then work, maybe he wins the Royal Rumble. If you would have done that, like have him tap everybody out, that was kind of thing. The next week, his slogan is AJ Style is that word and everything like that. Could have done something like that, but a low blow here and his next, it looks like it's not over with AJ Styles probably. Rey Mysterio's around the corner. We saw some interactions, R-Truth, all that. He fan favors right there. He could have tapped them out, put them on the shelves, but low blow. So I agree with you there. They need to do something else with him. They keep him with the heat, but just please, just have him be dominant. I think that'd be the best thing. And because right now, I mean, who is the dominant wrestler? The one you're like, oh, he's like the power, the powerhouse, Braun Breaker, but he loses. He doesn't win. You got a guy that is supposed to be on the run of his career after retiring, not just John Cena, but Goldberg.
Yeah.
2 legends in this industry. And you got him like this, they could do better.
Yeah. I do think that maybe the way that the company's been going, it could be him that eventually retires AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So that's certainly something to look for down the line. Let's get to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre coming in as the champion here with bagpipes welcoming him in. So that was kind of a fun way to do it. The crowd absolutely in love with Drew in his home country or close to it. Over there in Europe at least. But in any case, he had to turn on them. He said nobody believed in him, so he kept his heel character, which I think it was interesting. Throughout, I think that the presentation and everything, it's like, are they turning him face? But no. So he's ended up being heel. Again, revealed the no rematch clause for Cody. That's when Randy Orton came to the ring to confront McIntyre. Jacob Fatu then comes to the ring, but he's not confronting. He wants blood, chases McIntyre around. And then from out of nowhere, Miz hits a skull-crushing finale on Orton, setting up the the first of 4 qualifying matches to get to that fatal 4-way at Saturday night's main event to see who will take on McIntyre at Royal Rumble. So a lot to kind of digest there. The one thing I didn't like was McIntyre kind of inconsistent how they presented him throughout the night. They had him kind of walking backstage too, like scared, like holding onto his title and looked kind of scared of Jacob Fatu. I don't need him to be attacking him. If you want him to run away, fine, but don't make him look that scared in the back. So kind of different way to go about it. We do got to go kind of quickly here, so I'll throw a lot at you here, or Augie here, just to real quickly get Miz and Orton in. Good match from the veterans, including another skull-crushing finale. But Miz isn't winning too often, so his finisher is not winning him those matches too often. Announcer's table got taken care of, but ultimately an RKO from Randy Orton to qualify, to be the first of that fatal 4-way to qualify.
Yeah, I think it was fun, and it was the right choice. We've talked about we want to see Randy Orton doing it, and The Miz is the ultimate guy to put, he doesn't need to put Randy Orton, but this was a good match, and it throws you back to kind of our childhood, our teenage years of these guys going. I thought that was a good treat.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take another quick break. We'll come back and wrap up SmackDown, talking about SmackDown next year on Nuclear Heat.
An emergency can happen any moment. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. At CHI Health, we stand ready to care for any emergency. Our specialists provide expert care when you need it most, and believe healing is more powerful when delivered with human kindness. When seconds matter, know CHI Health St. Elizabeth is accredited in stroke care and offers the region's only ER just for kids. Learn more at chihealth.com/St. Elizabeth Emergency.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in December, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book your holiday parties at Double Eagle Golf and make plans to join them for a New Year's Eve party. Gift cards make a great stocking stuffer for Christmas, and don't forget to look ahead to 2026 as spring leagues begin in February. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G13885 and G16518. 2,500 down with proof credit.
Hey, Husker Nation. This is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top-quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Back to Nuclear Heat with your host, Jake Bockoven on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on Nuclear Heat. Thanks for joining us. We've got to get through SmackDown here as we just started our review of it. So let's jump right into it. Again, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair against Julia and Kiana James. A little bit different to see Julia, going into tag team action. Bliss and Flair had a little bit of run-in with Lash Legend and Nia Jax backstage, which would pop up once again sooner than later. Julia and James, though, were presented well. They did get plenty of offense in against Bliss and Charlotte Flair, but ultimately Alexa hit the Sister Abigail on James, Legend, and Jax attack afterwards. So obviously kind of heating up the tag team a little bit there and just giving Julia and Kiana James a chance to showcase themselves a little bit. I don't know if that's a long-term tag team. I mean, it might be, but right now Julia's in my mind, it'd be crazy if they give her the belt and then just kind of forget about it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of what they've been doing, though, right?
Yeah.
Like last week, she was a secondary character to the whole, I don't even remember what she was in last week. I just remember we talked about it because I think, was that the one? I don't even remember what it was, but she was just, she was like the background character of it all towards the end of it. Alexa Bliss, the Alexa Bliss night.
Oh, yeah.
So kind of that whole thing. So I don't know. We've seen this kind of before, though. They have a singles champion team up because they're trying to build something, get them in a storyline, and they severely need something for Julie because, as we talked about, that was probably one of the worst reigns we've ever seen. And then they decided to take it away from the greatest U.S. champ of all time on the women's side and give it right back to the worst. And Meechan's not even in there to take some of those feuds away, and all that stuff. So yeah, it is what it is.
What a mess of the U.S. titles.
It's horrible.
Uncle Howdy and MFT had some pre-taped videos. Ultimately, Solo wants a tag team shot in order to get the lantern back. Kind of strange because the Uncle Howdy's specific, like the video is like, it's not about the lantern. It's about the darkness and the light, all this sort of stuff. And then he still really wants that lantern. Like, if it's not about the lantern, just go get another lantern. But I don't know. I mean, I like it. I like the whole thing. I mean, I kind of like props and wrestling. And certainly, this is, obviously all around the Fireflies and the Bray Wyatt tribute and all that. So I can deal with it, but it is all, as we all know, a little bit silly.
Yeah, it really is. And like you said, we get it. It with the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, all that stuff. But the most surprising thing, once again, is I forgot who was the tag team champs on the men's side, and it is the Wyatt
That's
Six.
right, yeah.
That's something you just forget. So this is okay. I don't know. They need to do something with this because I was this is what you wanted. It's here, and it's just not doing it for me.
Yeah. It's you're right. I mean, this is at least the two factions that should be feuding, and this should help move each of them forward. But we'll see. They've got some work to do. Cody Rhodes promo came out to mixed reaction from the crowd, which again was interesting. Admitted his title run had become a bit episodic, which is something we were talking about. It's just kind of the same thing. Again, entered the Royal Rumble and says he owes Jacob Fatu a receipt. Fatu, so we would later learn that Nick Aldis would give this matchup for Saturday Night Main Event. So we will get Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu, and that's a good match because, again, I don't know, maybe going to have some outside interference or something there, but neither of those feel like they should take a loss here.
Yeah, no, 100%. Jacob Fatu, kind of with what he did, chasing Drew McIntyre, he's everywhere, costing the title. He's somebody that, we talked about. He should be skyrocketing. And I mean, you don't want Cody Rhodes losing this close to the Royal Rumble either, because, he's unfortunately the favorite probably to win it again, and all that. But hey, I mean, WWE's throwing us curveballs right now. So it could be, Jacob Fatu pins him, wins this match, and you got another serious contender for the Royal Rumble right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be one way to go. Use Cody Rhodes to put somebody over. That'd be a strange new idea to WWE, but could be something that they'd be working on here. To kind of get further that along again. I know Trick Williams and Matt Cardona don't have anything to do with them, but somehow we got there. Trick Williams, Matt Cardona fighting once again to have a chance in that fatal four-way to get to a title chance at Royal Rumble. This was a good match on paper because both these guys needed a victory here. Trick Williams new to the roster, Matt Cardona obviously with the return, so he couldn't tell who was going to win. Ultimately, Trick did win in advance to that matchup. Interesting too, Kit Wilson, who got a big round of ovation when he came out with his new entrance, attacked Cardona afterwards. Again, this led to Fatu and Cody. For some reason, Jacob Fatu didn't like it, so he went out and attacked Wilson. Cody then attacked Fatu, and security had to break it up. That's when Nick Aldis announced the match. So kind of a strange way to get there. A lot of people get some TV time, and it works. Trick Williams, though, moving on to that number one contenders match. We'd also need a winner out of Damian Priest and Solo Sikoa. We were just talking about the MFTs and all that kind of going along. That would pop up in this match. The NFTs were helping out Sikoa, but the ref wasn't looking. Eventually did catch Talatanga and kicked him from ringside. When Sikoa nearly got the pin, the lights went out, and of course, the Wyatt Six appear. Solo stopped Howdy from taking the lantern back, but Priest used the distraction to get the win. And so Damian Priest moving on to the number one contenders match.
Yeah, that's fine. You saw it coming, from the whole confrontation and everything. That's how they do it, right? That's why we're like, oh, they got curveballs and then they do something it's extra predictable. But hey, Damian Priest, he's back in the title picture again, and yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and just what everybody wanted.
Yep.
But we'll see. Maybe he can kind of start to get a little bit more energy behind his character. We also had a few. I mean, the rest of the matches were there. The U.S. Open Challenge between Carmelo Hayes and Leon Slater from TNA, a guy from the UK, so it was kind of celebrated there. Nothing against the match. It was a great match, and Carmelo sold his injury. As far as in-ring work, it's just the characters probably, I don't know if it wasn't enough into it, but Carmelo ends up winning. Then we had Chelsea Green and Jordan Grace. This was a quick match with Grace winning and Jade Cargill looking on. Grace had a chance to kind of pose with the title picture or the title there afterwards. Chelsea Green went after Grace and accidentally bumped into Jade, allowing for Jordan Grace to get the title belt. Again, I think Jordan Grace versus Jade Cargill is a good matchup on paper, but they're rushing into it. Like, the crowd didn't really care that Jordan Grace was there. And so I don't know. I Jade Cargill needs a veteran or something to help her title kind of move forward. I don't know. Jordan Grace, interesting, new, but just not enough behind the crowd with them. And then, of course, there's the Chelsea Green factor, which I'm fine with. Again, she can get buried here and kind of have the same amount of same level of interest from the next crowd. But did they have to make it such a quick match?
Yeah, I know it. This is where it's hard there, because I like Jordana Grace too. I think she's, she's, former bodybuilder, all that stuff. Great. Jade Cargill, we kind of talked about her. We know where they're going with this, right? It's Bianca Belair is going to come back and they're going to have a feud there. But Chelsea Green, she's just so great and everything. And you wish they'd do more with her in the ring, right? And she's there, but I don't know. She's kind of like the Finn Balor, right? She takes so many losses, but she's still a fan favorite. But yeah, I agree. They could have done a little bit more. This is maybe a feud or something that they should have kept in the States because like you said, I just was so stunned because normally when they go overseas, every feud, every match is like they make their presence known. They were not doing, even on Monday Night Raw in London. They were in London, right?
Yeah.
I noticed there was a lot of booing and kind of just dead, right? Just dead airtime. So I don't know. It's fine. Is this a Saturday night main event or a Royal Rumble match or have they not?
They haven't announced it yet, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this lands on Saturday night main event.
Yeah, they got a week to kind of do that, so it could be. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a good point though. Usually the overseas crowds are kind of into everything and elevating it, and it's not. And maybe it's just the more often you go overseas and kind of do the tour again, they cool down. But it just seemed like some characters they weren't invested in.
Or it's
this tour.
I'm not saying it out loud, but I'm going to say it. The wrong show has 3 hours. I mean, we talked about SmackDown and its roster not being the greatest. That's the show that gets 3 hours when Raw is going an hour and a half. They should probably switch that back up.
I did like the fact that they had those 4 qualifying matches. Again, they had to kind of rush it so they can kind of get this in Saturday. So that made it interesting. And we did finish up with Sami Zayn against Ilya Dragunov. Great back and forth, as you would imagine. Both these guys doing their best work during the U.S. Open Challenge when they had the belt, something that Carmelo's kind of taking on now. So it would be a great match. Ultimately, though, Sammy wins with a haluva kick. And so our number one contenders match, the Fatal 4-Way, this Saturday night from Montreal, will be Randy Orton, Trick Williams, Damian Priest, and Sami Zayn. Kind of interesting, though, because I think Sami Zayn, obviously in Montreal, going to be the home crowd favorite. That would kind of be a big moment for him. But if he wins that, then he can't win the Royal Rumble because whoever wins this match will likely not be in the Royal Rumble. WWE can do whatever they want. Maybe they will. But likely would not be in the Royal Rumble. And he's one of the favorites at this point. So I think that's definitely interesting. But it's weird because it does put high stakes on that Fatal 4-Way. But there's almost no chance that whoever wins that's going to beat Drew. So it's kind of weird watching Saturday night's main event. And if that is the main event, it's like good for a couple weeks, but not great for the trajectory of your career altogether.
Yeah, the only one I can see that could win it and then make it
beat Drew.
Is Randy Orton. It's like because then you talk about something like Cody winning the Royal Rumble. I mean, if it's Randy Orton, on the other side of that could be fun, and all that. And I just look at it this way: Sami Zayn lost, his best opportunity to win the championship back in Montreal, like in 2022 against Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
If they're going to give him an L there, I'm pretty sure they can give him an L here in Montreal. So I'm still going to go with Randy Orton. That's kind of the favorite.
Still think Randy Orton wins that one. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to go with Sammy, but Trick Williams is going to win. We'll just go there.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Damian Priest certainly could. You could run back the Priest and McIntyre stuff. So I think that could happen. And maybe Trick, I mean, again, what am I talking about? Is somebody that's not going to ultimately probably win the belt and not participate in the Royal Rumble. So you got to kind of pick your spots here. Again, and then also at Saturday night's main events will be Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu, and then Rhea Ripley and Io Sky against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Want to give your predictions there for Cody and Jacob real quick?
I want it to be Jacob, but I think it'll be a disqualification, and something's gonna happen there.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to go one way or the other, based on WWE's history, I'll go with Cody.
Yeah.
Women's tag: Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez.
I would like it to be Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, but I think the champs retain here.
Yeah. Usually, your first title defense, you at least get a little bit of time with the belt to see what you can do with it. So, and I know you don't love that team, but the crowd certainly loves the individuals, and so I think there's more money to be printed there with Rio. So we'll see what happens there. We will wrap it up here on Nuclear Heat. We'll be back with you next week, and next week will be the countdown to Royal Rumble. So how about that? We're close to WrestleMania. We'll talk all about that coming up next week at 9 o'clock. Once again, tell your friends about Nuclear Heat. We'll see you next week. Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.